Today is June 24th, 2016. My name is Ann Peskin. It is my honor and privilege today to interview Joseph Barocas for the Jewish Historical Society of Fairfield County. We are at the Henry Rosenbaum Library at the JCC. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
When were you born?
I was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1931.
And when did your family come to America?
Well, my parents came individually. They were children when they came with their parents. And I guess they're 12, 13 years old. And I know my mother was 8 years old working in the Hydrox cookie factory, slapping the cream on the cookies. And my father was a dishwasher, the only job he could get at the time when he was young. And then, of course, he learned how to operate a sewing machine and became a sewer in a factory. And my mother actually also became a sewing machine operator, and I think they met on the job. And whether he was the owner of the company at the time or that I can't answer. But they met on the job, and here we are.
What was your family life like when you were young?
A very close family. I was the middle child. I had an older brother and an older sister, and eventually, after me, came a sister and a baby brother. And he died at the age of 21 in an automobile accident. And the rest of us are still alive. No, my older brother just passed away a few years ago, right? So I'm the only boy left in the family.
Uh-huh. What kind of an education did you receive?
I graduated as an engineer. And,
From where?
In Philadelphia. And when I got out of college, I worked in the garment center for a while, and then I got a job working in a construction company. And I was there for several years, and then I was able to strike out on my own. And I built some homes in Brooklyn, attached brick houses with those steps going up, and the mother-in-law would live downstairs and the daughter would live upstairs. And the funny part about it is, compared to today's prices of homes, we did a one-family house that we sold for $19,000, and a two-family house, like I just described, for $27,000.
When was that? When did you first start? What year?
In the 50s, or very early 50s. Yeah.
Could you describe your home in terms of holidays and food?
Well, my wife is a little more religious than I am, and she does a lot of
Let me stop you
family
there.
holidays.
We'll talk that for a minute. Let's talk about your childhood life first, and then we'll talk about
sure.
the present one.
Okay, yeah, I was Hebrew school for till I got bar mitzvah, and that was all in Brooklyn. And never too religious, though. You know, we used to go on Friday and Saturday, and I was always under duress. You know, I never wanted to be there, but you know, we tolerated it. We went through it, and I got a Jewish education.
And what kind of food at home? Because
Well, my parents were from Turkey. Both of them were from Turkey, and they came over, I guess, when they were children. But I think it was around the time of the beginning of World War I, and they settled in Brooklyn.
And any special food that you remember?
Oh, sure. My mother used to make baklava and Barocas, which are like cheese pies or meat pies, you know, and biscottis. We called them bizcochos, and that was a round hard cookie, like a donut, you might say.
And now let's look at your family now, in terms of holidays and food. Tell me
We
a little bit
observe
about-
all the holidays, and we always fast for a while on Yom Kippur, and we go to the synagogue.
Which synagogue?
We go to Bethel now.
And your children's education?
My children went to bicultural school, and they went through. They went to Israel for a semester. My granddaughter also went to Israel, but she didn't go to bicultural. She went to public school, but she went with the Jewish group.
Mhm.
Several weeks, I guess.
And coming back to your bar mitzvah, what was it like?
Well, I had a joint bar mitzvah. My cousin, my father and his brother were partners in business. So my cousin was a week younger than I. So I was born in December, and he was born in January. So we had our bar mitzvah together, a joint bar mitzvah in January. And it was, a regular thing in the synagogue. We didn't do anything really special in the synagogue, but afterwards my family made a nice party in a catering hall.
And tell me a little bit now about your married life, son.
Well, I was married in 1960, and this year will be 60 years of marriage. I'm married to the same woman, beautiful lady, and
She was young, wasn't she, when you got
yeah,
married?
when I married her, she was 19. I met her when she was 17, when I was going to school in Philadelphia, and we were married 2 years after I met her.
And how many do you have in the family?
I have 4 children. Sabrina Benjamin is the oldest. I have Stacy Beta, is a twin, and Haley Barocas Truck is a dentist in Stanford. And my son Morris is a real estate attorney in New Canaan.
Ah. Now tell me, why did you settle in Fairfield County?
Well, I was building an apartment building in Brooklyn, New York, and was finishing the job. And I was anxious to go on to another project, and the mutual contractor that we dealt with, when I say mutual, I mean another person that I eventually became partners with, he was also looking to do another project, and he was a Stanfordite. And I drove down to Stanford to meet with him in the fall, and the leaves were all turning beautiful colors, and the sun was shining. It was a lovely trip on the Merritt Parkway, and I met this young man who was the same age as I was, and we looked around to buy property in Stanford, and originally we were looking to buy where the golf course is on Newfield Avenue, and that got sold to the city, so we had to look for something else. We were on Schofield Town Road, and we wanted to buy a piece of property there, and the Catholic Church bought that property. So we round the corner on the Ethan Allen Lane, we found a nice piece of property. We built 15 houses there.
And you've continued construction since?
I did, yes, and on Nathan Hale Drive, off Westover Road, on Woodwind Road, Wood something road, anyway, and I built a couple of houses in there. And then my father got very ill, so I gave up my work in Stanford. And
What year was that?
In the 70s, I guess.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly now. But so I was managing my father's business. And,
What was his business?
he was in the real estate business, an apartment house owner. And I used to be like a manager, you know, and got into other things in Staten Island. I built some homes in Staten Island at the time. And then I came here. Yeah, I mean, I'd been here, but I used to commute. And it was too much going, you know, to Staten Island, and I had an office in Brooklyn, and traffic and all that, so I gave all that up. Then I kind of ran my business from here.
Now, did you in all this experience any anti-Semitism, Edith?
No, I would say no, not here.
Have you ever experienced?
Well, in Brooklyn at one time, they used to have a little go-around, the Italians and the Jews, I guess. But I never participated in anything like that.
Oh.
I was a kid, and I moved away from there in 1941. So I was 10 years old when I left that part of Brooklyn. And where I lived in Brooklyn were all nice Jewish neighborhood.
So, your married life, where'd you start living when you first were married?
In Philadelphia. So I got out of school. I was in college at the time. And then we moved to Brooklyn. And then I moved into an apartment that my father owned. And I stayed there for a couple of years. And then I got into this project in Connecticut, so we decided to come here, build a house here, one of the homes on my street that I was building.
I know the house.
Yeah.
It's a lovely house.
Thank you.
They're
all lovely. I just had a party in the neighborhood for somebody's birthday, and the neighbors were all there, and they all gave me a lot of good messages, you know, to love their homes.
We talk about wars. What war was in your lifetime, and were you involved in it?
Yes, I was in the Korean War era in the 1950s. And when I got out of high school, I was subject to the draft, I guess, but I never received any official documents. So I joined the Naval Reserve in Floyd Bennett Field in Brooklyn. And I became a plane captain, which was really not the captain of a plane that drives a plane, but I was a mechanic on an airplane. And I learned that on the job. And then I was in 5 different aircraft carriers during the Korean War era, and we would train the planes that were in mothballs from World War World War II, I mean, were just being put into service. So the ships also were in mothballs at the time, so that's why we were in there training the crews to do the air operations, and then they go off to Korea. I went back to Florida, and then we'd get on another aircraft carrier several months later, go into the Atlantic Ocean again, train them, and they went off. So we did that on 5 different ships.
Is that
I
how
got
you,
discharged. Honorable discharge.
Is that how you got into boating?
No, I got into boating, well, because I was a sailor, no.
Did you like the water?
My friend had a sailboat, and he took me out for a couple of rides, and I loved it, so I took some courses from the Power Squadron, and I got the higher mark than my captain who was teaching me about it. So then I got my own boat.
And you've been boating a long time.
Oh yes, since 1972, I guess.
And weren't you a commander?
I was the commander of the Power Squadron, and just before you, Ann.
Right. I was your exec at that time.
Yeah.
What else were you involved in the community? It's obviously the boating.
Gee. I really can't say that I worked for the city, actually. I volunteered. I was on the Assessment Appeals Board for about 5 years.
Right.
And I used to see all my old friends. But I was always very honest.
So you're in the on the commission of taxable
Yeah,
tax assessment appeal.
assessments, yeah, we would review the assessments. People would come in and always say their taxes were too high or their assessment was too high. And we would get the, look at the plans. As a matter of fact, I could say I had one client who came in, he lived up north Stamford, and his house was less for $3 million, and another house on the same street was assessed for $2 million, and I looked at the records, and I was able to get his house reduced to the $2 million, so it's really the best thing I ever did over there.
What if you have any spare time? What do you do with it?
Well, I do a lot of woodworking.
Woodworking.
Yeah, I do cocktail tables and night tables and different things for the family. I have orders from all my kids. Oh, I like that table you made, so I have one in Florida. I have one up in Stanford. I have one in my own house. I have an order for one in Manhattan.
That's really
So I
nice.
do that in my space. I love it.
Now, we're going to talk about the world a little bit. What inventions have you lived to see?
Oh my God. God, the computer, I guess. Automobiles. I was driving a fluid drive. You ever hear of that one?
Yeah.
That was the first automatic transmissions. And I like cars. I had a TR6, and I used to dress up like an Englishman with a scarf and a cap and put the top down and drive, 80 miles an hour. Had fun.
So you feel that the computer was the most important of the inventions that you've seen?
Well, I would say so, and whatever else it, came from it. Like my son just bought me something you just talk and it turns the lights on and it puts the TV on and plays music. Sari, is that her name? I think so.
Yeah. Serious, I think.
Oh, Siri. Yeah,
Siri.
Siri, yeah.
Yeah. We've talked a little bit about life. What advice would you give to the future generation?
Well, somehow, the way things are going, it seems like the future generation is lost. They can't read, they don't watch, they don't know what's going on in the world. I think we have to go back a little bit to our roots and give up some of the TV things and pick up the books.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us?
Be honest. Do what you can to help your neighbors.
Well, thank you very much for the interview.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.